All right. Hey, Jim, we talked about this earlier. The Cowboys have not disappeared. As a matter of fact, they're 2-0 this year without Dak Prescott. They are 3-0 when Cooper Rush is the starting quarterback. Small sample size, but that's all you got. They needed those two. Got one over the Bengals. They got one over the Giants, the previously undefeated Giants on Monday Night Football. And so I don't think that Cooper Rush is going to create any kind of controversy in Dallas. I don't think he's going to take Dak Prescott's job. I don't know how you feel about it, Trotter. I don't know how our guest, Connor Rogers, feels about it. Connor, you look at Dallas, Cooper Rush, Dak Prescott. Is that even a conversation?
Should not be. I mean, there's a reason Dak Prescott got the contract he got, that he earned, and what he's done with that team and how that team looks at him internally. And I mean, Dak Prescott is a guy that we've seen play at an MVP caliber level before. And listen, it's a nice story that Cooper Rush is a capable backup that can keep you in games, that can manage the game, that can get the ball to your number one playmaker in CeeDee Lamb, that they have two capable running backs, and that some of the young guys on that offensive line do look good early. That's all good signs. But this defense is carrying them through this stretch. I think it's a good sign for the Cowboys as a team that they're navigating this, but it'll be much, much better when Dak Prescott, with Michael Gallup and Dalton Schultz eventually will be back as well. So, no controversy.
I think all you needed to know was to see Mike McCarthy's reaction a week ago when he was asked about Jerry Jones's comments about a potential controversy. The laugh that the chuckle that he let loose with, let you know it's Dak Prescott's job, and he's fine with that. But the thing that kills me, though, is how Jerry is so willing to say the quiet part out loud, you know? Yeah. Like, he may be thinking it, right, but there's no reason to say it.
Right, it's great. And so if you look at it, do you look at Dallas, and we're on the same page here. I mean, it's Dak Prescott's job, and Cooper Rush is keeping it warm. But how about the division? Because I get the sense, fellas, that most people say, oh, well, Philadelphia's got it. Philadelphia's the class above the Cowboys. Do you guys believe that? Connor, do you believe that? Do you believe that Philadelphia's there? You do?
I really do. I think the Eagles, you look at everything they've done in the offseason, and then the thing that we couldn't see is the growth of Jalen Hurts, right? That's the thing for me that I think people they're not writing off, because Jalen Hurts has now climbed up into being one of the top MVP candidates on every single betting board. But that was the thing that makes the Eagles really get over the hump, because they have a great roster. They added to it in their defensive line with Jordan Davis, and they obviously traded for A.J. Brown. They have a perfectly capable number 2 in Devontae Smith. This has quietly been one of the best offensive lines in football for a long time. So having a quarterback that was already a good player take another step separates them in this division that they're going to keep rolling for a while here.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And I would further add that what they did in their secondary in terms of upgrading that unit, they're a complete team. And that's why I like them. The only pause I have is that it's a long season. And as you know, injuries can impact a club and derail a club pretty quickly. So, but just in terms of on paper, if everyone's healthy, I love the way that Philadelphia is playing. Pat myself on the back here. I know I'll be embarrassed later, but they were my preseason pick to go to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. So I'm going to ride with them all the way until the wheels come off.
Well, I think, and I agree with you on your injuries point, but if you want to do like a temperature check of a team, really find out what a team is made of, you know what you do? Take the quarterback away. Take the quarterback away and see what that team is all about, because that is like the number one position. And Dallas has done that. And I know 2 games. So when we talk about Philadelphia versus Dallas, you know where I give Dallas the edge? At quarterback. Everybody's, loving on Jalen Hurts. Good. Lots of progressions, lots of progress. Dak Prescott's still better than Jalen Hurts.
You're a
How about coaching?
Hater.
Oh, I'm not. I'm a truth teller.
Hater.
I'm a truth teller.
Hater.
And now let's go here.
Hater.
How about head coach? Head coach. Who's better head coach?
Whew. Sirianni has looked a lot better, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it's the whole staff, Michael. It's the whole staff. The Cowboys, every Cowboys fan has been screaming about McCarthy since he got hired.
Because it's spoiled. Mike McCarthy can't get any help in this room. No help. So Sirianni hasn't won a playoff game. Career, like last year, what, 9-7? 10 and 8.
How many years has he been a head coach?
Give him a chance.
How many years has he been a head coach?
Okay, answer your own question. He's been a head coach for 1 year, and you're giving him the edge over Mike McCarthy, who's got a Super Bowl title and has got a pretty good winning percentage, right?
Let me say this to you. Mike McCarthy I consider to be a friend. Mike McCarthy has made a lot of mistakes.
Doesn't sound like it.
During his short time in Dallas, he has made a lot of mistakes, and I think he would be the first to admit that to you. With Nick Sirianni, the one thing I will give him credit for when we talk about, yes, he's in his second year as a head coach, what I saw last year was a coach early on who appeared to be one of those guys who was like, we're going to do it my way, we're going to run my system, and everything else be damned. And then he realized when they weren't having success, you know what I am doing is not working, and we need to play to the strength of this team, which is running the football, and that's what they did. They got back to some basic football and started to have success. So to me, the sign of a good head coach, in part, not in full, but in part is, are you willing to look in the mirror and be accountable to yourself and your teams and say, maybe what I'm doing is not right, and maybe we need to try something else. And he was willing to do that, and I will give him credit for that.
Okay, can I just point something out to you guys? All right, so we may have a different answer on this. We may all be aligned. I think we may have the same answer. Tell me who the best coach, starting with you, Connor, who's the best coach in the NFL? This the best coach, like the standard, the best coach in the league is?
I think it's Sean McVay, honestly. I think the reason being is, and it's not just because they just won the Super Bowl. That obviously it's a chalk pick when you say that. But when you combine the awareness of where the league goes every year and the adjustments he makes and the player relations, right, that balance with him, I think he's the one that's mastered it the most. And I think the third thing is that is one of the more unique things. He just makes excellent hires to replace the guys he loses each year. And that's one of the hardest parts of the job. I think it's a really hard thing to do each year. So when you combine just winning, his player relations, and his staff relations and talent scouting, I would put McVay up with anyone at this point right now.
Who would you say?
I think that's a great call. I hadn't thought about it from that standpoint, but everything you said about McVay is absolutely true. But if I were to pick one right now, I would say obviously Bill Belichick. I still believe in terms of situational football, in terms of coaching up not only players but his staff. What are we to make of the fact that when these coaches are on his staff, how good this team is, and when they go away, they are not as good. Their teams do not perform as well.
It's almost like the opposite of McVay. It's almost the opposite of McVay. You know?
Yeah. So I come back to Bill Belichick and his attention to detail. And the other thing is, when we talk about player relations, we from the outside see him one way, and we see those press conferences and day to day or on to Cincinnati or whatever. But when you talk to players on his team, some of whom I know have known really well, they love Bill Belichick. And they talk about a guy who has a personality and they can relate to and that sort of thing. So I think sometimes people on the outside don't get a fair representation of who he is. And I think he likes it that way. But the truth is he can relate to his players, particularly veteran players. So from that standpoint, I would still say for me, it would be Bill Belichick, and then I'd go McVay.
Well, I'm going to tell you why I asked you guys that question in just a second, but you just gave me a thought, Trotter. In the Mike Tomlin poetry spot that we have every day, some coach saying something, just with interesting phrasing. Bill Belichick might have to take that Mike Tomlin poetry spot today for that day-to-day press conference. What do you want me? You think I'm going to read the MRI? What do I look like? An orthopedic surgeon? You know. So we're gonna have to play that.
Wait, you got to do it in the way that he does it, because he didn't even do it with the emotion that you had. You have to do it as he does it to make it really effective.
Day today. And my favorite part is he's saying this day-to-day thing. And a reporter said to him, well, okay, trying to change it up. Well, what did your medical team tell you? He said, day-to-day. Like, come on. You just set me up for that one. That was easy. That's for free. But the reason I asked, okay, the best coach in the league, and I thought you were going to say, Connor, you messed me up a little bit, because I thought you were going to say the same thing Trotter did. This is Belichick. Even the best coach in the league, people complain about him. People here, I'm in Boston, people have been complaining about Bill Belichick all season, complaining about the staff. Why didn't he name an offensive coordinator? Why didn't he name a defensive coordinator? Why can't he draft wide receivers? What's going on here? What's up with it? Like, and that's the best. So people complaining about Mike McCarthy, yeah, even the best gets hated on. McCarthy.
Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season in 15 years in Pittsburgh, and Steeler fans are trying to get him up out of there.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So Mike McCarthy, your friend Trotter, not mine, but I'm caping up for him more than you are. I'd say great winning percentage.
I'm gonna get a call for this.
Great history. Hey, Mike, I'm your guy. McCarthy, I'm your guy. Great history of developing talent. Great history of hiring people on staff who do a good job, who might even, like in the case of Dan Quinn, who might even threaten his authority, but he's good with it. So, I don't know. Watch out for the Cowboys. I'm picking the Cowboys to win that division. Hot take. Cowboys going to win the NFC East. Yes.
Connor, set them straight.
NFC East.
Set them straight, Connor.
Man, it's tough for me. I think the selling point is that they have maybe one of the greatest defensive players we'll see of the next 10 years in Micah Parsons. That's what you can lean your hat on and say. But yeah. I still think they have some problems on the back end of the defense that can be cleaned up. The offensive line is young in certain areas. They've dealt with injuries. And maybe it's not about the Cowboys. More to Trotter's point, the Eagles are just such a complete team. It's hard to pick against them right now.
I asked Trotter this earlier, Connor. How about tonight? I'm really excited about this game, this Bengals-Dolphins game. Who do you like in it?
This is an incredible one, right, because of the variables in it. I like the Bengals to win, but I can't believe that Miami is kind of a significant underdog by more than a field goal. And this is the ultimate matchup game. You have a team like Miami that loves to blitz. They blitz on over 40% of the dropbacks they see. I believe that's the most in the NFL. You have a team like Miami that'll play man coverage all day long if they need to. And then on the other end, you have a quarterback like Joe Burrow that has no problem throwing against the blitz like he did in the first half to run up the score on the Jets last week. So, and we know all the playmaking talent in this game. So it'll be a rare Thursday where I think there'll be a ton of scoring. I think it'll be a shootout if Tua could be full go. But ultimately, I think the Bengals are officially back on track after night and win a very, very close game.
You know what? I want to, if I can, for 1 second, go back to Dallas and ask Connor about this, and Mike, get your opinion as well. I was one of those people who was kind of critical of CeeDee Lamb. Like, I just didn't know if this guy was a number one. And what he showed me in that game Monday night changed my perception of him.
Oh, I need to see it, Gary.
That's fair.
Bring it on.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
No, I'm talking about that play. No, you're right. Okay. I'm with you. I'm talking to Gary about our producer, Gary Carter. When you mentioned CeeDee Lamb, I need to see that touchdown catch again. It was just beautiful. And even the end, when he dropped the touchdown there, even the end of one of his runs where he was just great, where he like rolled over a guy. You're right, Trotter, but go ahead, love on him some more.
No, because my thing is, it's more of it. We know the physical ability is there. But my question was always, is the mental makeup there? Is he a dog? You know, will he get down and dirty in terms of, I don't care what the coverage is, I don't care who's on me, when a play has to be made, I'm going to make it. And I saw him drop that pass, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe the doubts I have are right. And then to see him respond the way that he did, what it said to me is that he does have that dog makeup in him. Now, they've got to bring it out every week, but I was just curious you guys' perception of what you saw, because for me, mine changed of him a bit to where I said he can be that guy, whereas previously I wasn't so sure.
I think it's a great point, Jim, because the questions with CD were always, how is he going to function once Amari Cooper leaves and you take him out of the slot on all of his snaps, and can he handle being the guy? And now Gallup's been out, so everything's been working against him. But the good news is he was the guy at Oklahoma. Now, it's a big difference going from the Big 12 to playing in the NFL and being the guy, but he was always able to take on a huge work share at Oklahoma, break tackles after the catch, sky high for the football over defenders when they needed him most. So I think he's ready for this moment, as he showed the bounce back. You just got to deal with those little mental lapses. But CeeDee Lamb has all the talent to consistently be a top 8 wide receiver in the NFL. And Dallas letting Amari Cooper showed that they believe he will be.
Yeah, I agree. But before we get into all that, I know we got to let you go in here in a second. Before we let you go, I want to tell people, you came in, Connor, because we're with you. We support you. You came in talking about the New York Mets. And the statement you made me go back and look at the standings. I thought I missed something. You said, yeah, we're about to win the division. And I said, wow, did something happen? I lost my voice the last couple of days, and maybe I've just kind of lost track of it. They're leading the division by a game. One game. One game. And you said they're about to win it. So tell me why you're feeling yourself and feeling your team where you can speak with such confidence and authority.
Michael, after all the misery that comes with being a Mets fan, if we can't be excited and confident with Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer back-to-back with the division on the line, if the Mets take 2 out of 3 down in Atlanta, this thing is over. If we can't be confident then, we have no hope. Not with new ownership, not with money, not with finally a season where we're going to win. They are going to win. I don't want to be the we fan. They are going to win 100.
No, go ahead. I like that. I like we.
They are going to win 100 games. We've been waiting too long for this. 2015 was a little flash in the pan. There was a letdown in the World Series. I have to, behind the anxiety, I have to be very confident and excited for this team.
You know what? Look, Connor should be supporting his team in this way, but what I'm hearing, almost going back to football, I'm hearing Jerry Jones talking about CeeDee Lamb or Cooper Rush, before they got onto the field this year. So that's what it sounds like to me, like he's going to speak it into existence.
That's right. That is absolutely right.
I love it, and I love this race. I love divisional races like this, back and forth. Both teams are really 100-win teams, and winning the division in the new playoff format, winning the division really does matter a great deal. So I like this race to the finish. And actually, Connor and Jim, the National League playoffs, American League will be fun, but the National League, you think about it. You've got the Mets are going to win 100 games. The Braves are going to win 100 games. The Dodgers are well over 100 wins. The National League playoffs are going to be fantastic. And not to mention, the team that's not going to win 100 might upset all of y'all, and that's the Cardinals. I keep telling you, watch out for the Cardinals. I can't wait for the playoffs. Connor, I'm rooting for you. I am this weekend, because the team that I watch all the time, they're going to finish in last place again, the Red Sox. So this weekend, I'm a Mets fan. I'm with you. Go Mets.
Michael, you are much appreciated. Your support every week on this show whenever I come on is much appreciated. That's all I could ask for.
Go Mets, baby. Mr. Met. Where's Mr. Met? I'm all about it. Thank you, Connor. Always good to see you.
Thanks, Connor.
Great talking to you guys. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.